What's going on, everybody? My name is Matski, and today I have a little bit of a different video for you guys. As you know, the Arsenal career mode has officially come to an end, so that means we'll be starting a new series on the channel. I want to move away from the big six. I want to take over a club that finished around that mid-table mark last season. It'll be more of a long-term rebuild, probably 3 or 4 seasons, potentially before we get to the Champions League final and win that competition. So I think it would be fun to take over a club that is in need of some new signings, of refreshing, in order to compete with the big six for trophies. I'll have 3 clubs outlined for this rebuild. First one being Aston Villa, Crystal Palace is the second one, and third will be Newcastle United. I'm going to leave a poll down below. I'm going to make a Google spreadsheet for you guys to vote. Let me know down in the comments as well what you think, and smash that like button if you're excited for this upcoming Road to Glory career mode. And don't forget to subscribe to never miss an episode. So like I said, the first team on that list is Aston Villa. Last year they finished in 14th. Steven Gerrard just took over there, and he seemed to give him a nice boost when the season started, but they kind of fell off near the end. They made some really great signings in real life. Diego Carlos is coming in from Sevilla to strengthen that center back position. Kamara, as well, the central defensive midfielder from Marseille, joined the club, and they were able to get Coutinho on a permanent deal on top of that. So they have some great players. Of course, Emi Martinez is in goal, and he's a very solid keeper. Leon Bailey's out on that wing. So they have some really nice players. It seems like their squad is already kind of shaping up compared to the other teams on that list. I feel like this Aston Villa squad is only 1 or 2 signings away from being able to finish in that top 6 spot, potentially getting Europa League. So out of the 3 teams on this list, I will say that Villa are a little bit more of a finished product. But again, I still think it would take about 3, potentially 4 seasons before we get to the Champions League final. But let's take a look at the Aston Villa squad. So like I said, they made some great signings. Diego Carlos is there. He's 29 years old. He looks like a solid center back, and he'll really help that back line. Luca Digne and Matty Cash are some great wing backs to have at the club, and their midfield looks very solid. Kamara's in there, John McGinn, he's a solid player, and of course Felipe Coutinho at that cam position. The immediate signing that I would look to make would be to bring in another left winger, a natural winger. Buendia would probably be the backup cam, and potentially a new striker. Don't get me wrong, I like Ollie Watkins. He has some great stats in FIFA, but I think to take Villa to that next level, they need to bring in a star striker to run the front line for them. But like I said, they have some great squad depth. Ramsey, Sanson, and Douglas Luiz on the bench is not bad at all. I would probably look to sell Sanson and then bring Buendia as a backup cam. But they have a very strong squad already. I wouldn't really look to make too many changes, so keep that in mind. This would be more of just building around the players that we have and potentially bringing in some superstar players to take Villa to the next level. Second team on the list is Crystal Palace. They finished in 12th last season. Patrick Vieira just took over there, and he seems to be changing their style of play. They seem to be playing some very nice football, and they're a nice team to watch. Now, I will say that there will be a little bit more work required in the Crystal Palace rebuild compared to Villa. I feel like Villa have a more of a polished squad, whereas if we take over Crystal Palace, we will need to bring in some new wing backs, a new midfielder, and rebuild a little bit like that. Of course, they have Wilfried Zaha up top. He'll be leading the front line for us. Odsonne Edouard was recently signed as well, and he seems to be a very exciting striker to have at the club. Eberechi Eze and Michael Olise are 2 young attacking midfielders that will be really nice pieces to build around as well. They have a few aging players that I will have to look to replace, and their transfer budget isn't the greatest either. It's only £26 million. So again, it'll be a little bit more of a long-term rebuild. It'll take some time before we find the right players to fit into the squad, but they do have some nice pieces that we could build around. So here's the Crystal Palace lineup. Zaha, Edouard, and Olise up top is a fantastic front 3 to start off the career mode with. Eberechi Eze is there at the cam position, and he looks like a very exciting young talent. They also recently signed Czech Decore, and he seems to be a very solid midfielder. That's a great signing for Crystal Palace. So I'd probably look to bring in a new CDM just to strengthen that starting lineup a little bit. The wing backs are going to need replacing, and possibly another goalkeeper. So there are more positions in where we need to strengthen and rebuild. And I think overall this squad needs a lot more work done to it than the Aston Villa one does. And the third and final team on the list is Newcastle United. Of course, they were recently just taken over by new owners, and they have an influx of cash coming into the club. But I think if I would take over Newcastle United, I would leave the transfer budget as is. I think having the financial takeover would make it a little bit too easy. They have only spent around £50 million so far this transfer window. Of course, that can change as there's still plenty of time left in the window, but I think I would leave the budget as is. Out of the 3 clubs on the list, Newcastle United finished the highest amongst them. They finished in 11th last season. Again, another new manager, Eddie Howe, is there, and he's got them playing some fantastic football. They're looking electric and very exciting to watch. If I would rank the squad strength out of the 3, I would say Newcastle United are in second place behind Villa. They did make some great signings in real life with Sven Botman, Nick Pope coming into the club. They have Alain Saint-Maximin out on that left side and Kieran Trippier, so they have some high-rated players to start off with as well. We know how dedicated and loyal the Newcastle fans are. They've been through a very tough past couple of years with their previous owner. I think it's time to rebuild them, to bring them to glory, and see them competing with the top clubs in England. Let's take a look at the squad and see what we're working with. So here's the Newcastle United lineup. Of course, Alain Saint-Maximin out on that left-hand side. Bruno Guimaraes in the middle is a very excellent player to have in the squad. They recently signed Sven Botman from Lille. He looks like a very exciting young center back with a lot of room to grow. And Nick Pope from Burnley was a very underrated signing, I feel like, because he's a very solid goalkeeper, especially in FIFA. Standing at 6'6", he seems like he can make every save possible, so it'd be nice to have him in the squad and to use him in a career mode. Their squad depth isn't the greatest though. Besides their starting 11, they don't really have many pieces to come off the bench. When it comes to potential signings, there seems like there's a lot of room to improve in. A new striker up top would be great. Callum Wilson is 30 years old. I'd rather have him coming off the bench as a backup striker and then bring in a very solid player that can frontline this rebuild and be our star man up top. Another central midfielder would be crucial. Jonjo Shelvey's getting up there in age and he doesn't really have the best pace, which is kind of a hindrance when it comes to playing in FIFA. I would look to bring in another center back as well, as Fabian Schär's getting up there in age. I'd rather have him coming off the bench as well as a backup center back. Joe Willock can be our starting cam up top. He's only 22 years old and we know what an excellent start he had there to life at Newcastle when he was on loan from Arsenal. He was scoring a lot of goals in a very quick amount of time. So overall, it's a pretty decent squad. There are some nice players, but there are also some players that I will look to rotate out of the starting 11 and bring in new signings to really strengthen the squad and take Newcastle to the next level. So those are the three options that I laid out for you guys: Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, and Newcastle United. Again, they're going to be a little bit more of a long-term career mode. I'd say about 3 to 4 seasons. I'm going to restrict myself to 3 signings per season, just to create a little bit more competitiveness and more of a challenge. On paper, I'd say these 3 squads are pretty even in strength. Aston Villa is definitely the best out of the 3 with the signings they've made in real life and the depth that they have on top of that. Crystal Palace and Newcastle have some decent players, but they don't really have the squad depth. So I think those 2 would be a little bit more of a challenge compared to Aston Villa. But let me know what you guys think down below. Leave in the comments what team you'd like to see me take over. And don't forget to vote for the club using the link down below in the description. Regardless of what team is chosen, I think it'll be a very exciting series. Going away from the big 6 clubs will really make it more of a challenge. We don't really have the transfer budget to work with or the squad depth. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of club we can build. I can't wait to see which club out of 3 gets chosen. I'm very excited for this upcoming rebuild and I hope you guys are too. So I'm going to leave you on that note. It's been Matsky and peace.